Hello, and welcome to the crossover, where nothing is out of bounds and everything is fair game. We have a lot to cover with you today, but first, let's check in with the Tunnel Crew. Please give a warm welcome to Stats, Aggie P, Rooftop, TP, and Baby Jesus.
What's happening, everybody? And I'm your man, Big T. And once again, it's time for At Home with the Crossover. And joining me once again, a usual cast of characters, none other than the Elon legend, the guy that brings a wealth of knowledge to the show. We're talking about Bromel is in the house. Bromel, what's going on?
Hey, praise the Lord. Glad to be here.
There you go. Then we got the queen, the first lady, the doctor, mama, the business owner, all of these things. She's in the house, none other than TP. What's going on, TP?
Everything. Blessings to everyone on this day. Blessings.
There you go. Then we got the man that brings the ag swag to the show each and every week. Boy, he looking serious, looking focused. He's ready to talk some football. We're talking about none other than Aggie P is in the house. What's up, Aggie P?
What's up, Big T? Aggie Pride is nationwide, brother.
There you go. Always. Then we got the Bird Man is in the house. His Wake Forest Demon Deacons suffered a terrible loss on Saturday to Syracuse. That's all right. He still supports the team. LeBron is out for the third straight game, so his Lakers going down. But hey, it's all right. It's all right, Bird. What's going on, Bird?
Listen, I don't pay attention to anything NBA until after the big game is over.
There you go. I feel the same way. I mean, I pay attention to it, but, not as much as I will after the big game.
I don't need it.
So you don't, Aggie P?
No. My picks this week was so hard.
And then we got Radar Charles.
Yes, sir.
Radar Charles.
Yes,
What's going on, Radar?
I'm here. Narrow is the way, Big T.
There you
when
go.
LeBron can't play. The king has fallen, sir.
The king has fallen.
The king has fallen. I'm ready.
Hey, y'all, and together we are the Tunnel Crew, watching everything that happens inside and outside the tunnel, leading to the lines of competition in the world of sports. On tonight's edition of At Home with the Crossover, we have a lot to talk about. The big game matchup is set, and we're going to look back at both conference championship games that were played on Sunday. We'll look ahead and talk about TB12. Finally made it official today. He's hanging it up, so we'll talk about that. And there was a big breaking story that came out about 2 hours ago, and it's hot off the press, and a lawsuit was filed against the NFL, and we will get into that story as well as we go on. But we start with the hot topics, the hottest stories in sports. May not be what everybody else is talking about, but it's the things we, the Tunnel Crew, want to talk about. And we begin with the NFL playoffs. Of course, the conference championship games were played on Saturday, and Joe Burrow does it again, y'all. Week 17, the Bengals beat the Chiefs 34-31 in that game. Chase had over 266 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the Chiefs blew a 28-17 lead. So they're up by 11 at halftime and lost that game 34-31. Well, guess what? On Sunday, they were up by 11 at the half and blew that game and lost in the second half, just like they did in that one in the regular season. So rematch didn't change anything because the results were the same. And then that second half, the Bengals outscored the Chiefs 17-3 and won the game 27-24 in overtime. Burrow had 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Chase had six catches for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. And Mahomes was on fire in the first half, going 17 out of 19, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. In the second half, 9 out of 20, 55 yards, 2 interceptions. So let's break it down, Tunnel Crew. Let's chop it up. What happened in this game, and how did the Chiefs blow an 18-point lead? They were up 21-3 in the first half and lost that game. How did that happen?
Well, if I may start it off real quick, I think it just kind of fell apart when Mahomes, going towards halftime, decided to look over to the sidelines and say, you know what, Andy Reid, I got this. Throws the pass behind Tyreek Hill, and he doesn't get the touchdown. Now they're looking shocked. Now here we go back into the second half, going into overtime, and you got a chance to score a touchdown and put the game away. You as a quarterback should know what to do in that certain situation. Why didn't you just run the ball? That's all you had to do. Instead, you take a sack, you lose yardage before that, and now you're going to overtime. And on top of that, you throw an interception in overtime. So I think that game ain't even on Andy Reid. That's on Patrick Mahomes because he can't read the defense. You know they're going to double up on Hill. They looking right at your eyes. They're going to double up on Hill, and they're going to cover Kelsey. It's simple.
But it's not so simple when your coach is the one who's telling you what the plays are. So you can't just say it's on Patrick Mahomes, because if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, he's going to be out too. So everything is not so simple. And you have to remember that when the pressure is on you, everybody is trying to come up with different plays, especially when you're getting ready to try to come to the big game. So everybody is trying to redo plays because some of them have been recycled and reused over and over. Everybody's trying to come up with great techniques. It's just that when it's in the heat of the game, I mean, think about it. They would not get to this point if they both were not great teams. They weren't eliminated early. Everybody is trying to bring their A game in order to come. So I don't feel like it's on a Patrick Mahomes. I feel like it's a team effort. Nothing should come down to a kick in order for somebody to win. It's a team effort. So
you're right,
that's how I feel. It's a team effort.
I look at it the same way as a team effort. And what you had is that you got to give Cincinnati credit. Even though Mahomes did some things that he shouldn't have did, they shouldn't have been in that situation. Like you said, Bird, at the end of the half, that was the turning momentum right there. And the only thing that happened is that Cincinnati just kept playing their game. And then when they got the momentum, the only thing they did is say, okay, we're going to cut off those 5-yard passes. And when they cut those 5-yard passes out, then Mahomes had to look deep. And by that time, they got to him. They got to him. But like I said, you just have to give Cincinnati some credit, too. It wasn't all the mistakes of, of course, when you make mistakes in a game like that, it's going to cost you,
Aggie P, you a football guy. I gotta hear from you.
I agree with Brother Mel, TP, Bird, man. I mean, I agree with them all. It is a team effort. And like Birdman said, Mahomes did disappear in the second half.
Yeah.
But my question, it is a team effort, but Mahomes made some very key mistakes in running around.
He did.
Back there, and you had a whole nother down to go throw the ball away.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it when he scrambles and throw that little dart back across the field, but I don't know. It just seemed like, I don't know if the brother had a concussion or I just felt that he just wasn't himself, because a lot of times when he was running around, he will run and pick up the first down. He didn't even do that. I mean, it's kind of like he wanted them to chase him, and he just kind of disappeared in the second half. He didn't play his best ball, know. So that's my take. But everybody, I mean, hey, that's a good review of what happened. We do have to give the Bengals a lot of credit.
Yes, sir.
And that's where I disagree with everybody, Big T, because the Bengals played a heck of a game.
They did.
Them corners were flying around out there, and the way they handled Tyreek Hill a couple times, they was throwing him around like a rag doll. And they refused. They played the exact opposite of the way the Bills played last week. Yeah, it was like they was playing flag football last week, but this week it was like they got back to tackle football.
Yeah,
even Kelsey got manhandled a couple times.
Well, and one thing real quick that to take off of what you said, I watched that play where Mahomes threw the interception in overtime on the first drive, and I kept looking at it, and I sat there and I hit the rewind on the DVR, and I kept watching that play, and I said, was there no one else open? And you know what? On that play, there wasn't. Everybody was covered. Tyreek Hill was double covered. And what happened is they looked like they were rushing 5, and they only sent 3, 2 guys dropped back. One picked up the running back that came out late because he chipped the guy and came out late, and then he got picked up by one of the guys that was waiting. The last guy spied Mahomes because I was thinking, okay, everybody's covered. Why didn't Mahomes run? And then I kept looking, and I saw the last guy sitting there spying Mahomes. I was like, oh, they took away everything. You know, at that point, he should have just threw the ball away and punted it and let the defense try to win it, you know.
And what you have on that Big T too is that Cincinnati knew those trends, that what he does.
Yep.
You know, and then what they did is this, okay, we in that situation that either he's going to run or he's going to try to go for the big shot. You know, and so they played it perfect. You know, but you got to look at it. It should have been a fumble before the end of the regulation game.
It should have been.
Yep. He fumbled the ball.
Yep.
And they ended up getting it back. They shouldn't have got that back. You know.
You know what? The 2 places they lost the game were the end of the first half when they didn't take the 3. And then with 1 minute and 40 seconds left, like you were just talking about, Bromell, he got sacked on consecutive plays on that one time, losing the ball. That almost ended the game. You were inside the 5-yard line with a chance to win the game, you know? I mean, and then you go backwards and get sacked and you end up having to kick a 44-yard field goal that's not guaranteed just to send it into overtime. So they almost lost it in regulation.
Right. So why did, you know, and I know we can look at it after the fact, but, you know, you was on, what was it, 5-yard line? They didn't even run it. They went trying to pass the ball. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's like that the last week's game haunted them this week because they thought they were going to do exactly the same thing this week that they did last week, and it came back to home.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with that.
I wanted to ask though, and I know that it has been a year, but you know, if I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs was in this position last year, and then they lost around the same thing last year. I'm wondering if they're going to compare the game from last year compared to this one and see if it's the same mistakes, because it does seem like Mahomes is kind of froze up. To me, both times his face just looked totally different. And I'm looking for, I'm going to use a basketball term, but I'm kind of looking for that follow through like Kobe does. I'm looking for him to get that ball on those last 2 minutes and say, hey, are you going to be able to do it or not, or execute it or not? So I just noticed that between the game from last year and this year. I would like to see both of them again.
And real quick question to everybody. Who thinks who had the best offense? Because everybody was saying Joe Burrow had a better offense. And I was like, but Patrick Mahomes has more chemistry with his offense. So why is that an excuse now all of a sudden?
I don't think it was who had the best offense, it's that who executed the best.
That's right. There you go.
Joe Burrow was one that executed the best. He didn't rush what he was doing. He took what they gave him, and they just slowly marched down the field. You know? And when they had to run, they ran the ball.
Man, you were right on it. Hey, I like that. Executed. Hey, y'all know how I love my numbers, and a couple of real quick numbers that I saw. Patrick Mahomes had never lost when he was up by 15 points or more until Sunday. He was 37-0. He's 37-1 now. And that comeback is tied for the largest comeback NFL championship game history. So Bengals were doing something, you know, coming back from 18 points in that stadium. That's pretty big. And I know the Chiefs helped them out a lot, but you got to give Cincinnati, like everybody's been saying, a lot of credit. Agape, you look like you're getting ready to say something there, sir.
No, I think Mahomes got a call from Vegas at halftime. That wasn't the real Mahomes that came out in the second half. I mean, he has too many weapons on that offense to look like he was looking.
Well, he almost threw a pick six, too, remember, in overtime?
Yeah, I mean, double the cheetah. Okay, Kelsey. But you got two other playmakers, two Holmes, and you got coming out of the back. I mean, it's just too many weapons for him
you know what
to
happened,
play like he played.
Agape, you know what he did? He got so locked in on Tyreek and Kelsey, the other two wasn't getting no targets, and when he tried to target them, they weren't even ready for the ball.
You know,
I like to call it the Aaron Rodgers syndrome.
I think Big T had something to do with it.
You think I had something to do with it?
Yeah,
Hey,
you done called your Bulls in Vegas, BQ.
Hey, I picked them.
Well, I'm gonna tell you now. One of our listeners, Small Wonder, she said execution mattered and absolute team effort.
Ah, there you go, Small Wonder. There you go. Hey, when we come back, we're gonna hit the NFC side of things, and we're gonna get into a little Tom Brady talk. You're listening to At Home with the Crossover.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, the joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. Independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, two locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry. Join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to At Home with the Crossover. And we have a lot of fun each and every week. Tunnel Crew members like to chop it up, like to just laugh and joke. You know, guys like Radar Charles, blind as a bat, like we say, don't know how he sees the games, but you can hear he knows what he's talking about. And, you know, and Aggie P bringing the Ag swag, and the Queen, Mama keeping us in line, Birdman, you know, always repping his boys. And then, of course, we got Bromel, who keeps everything level and smooth. You hear him every week. Well, you can hear all of us each and every Tuesday night live on YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube page. When you get there, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends about it. Every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. live on YouTube for At Home with the Crossover. Then on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., you can go online to WLJFradio.com and you can listen to the original audio version of the Crossover Sports Show. And you can find that Thursday nights at 7 p.m. on WLJFradio.com. You can also download the 100.7 WLJF app. It's available both in Google Play and the iTunes Store. So every Thursday night, 7 p.m., catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. All right, let's get back into our hot topics. We were talking about the conference championship games before the commercial break. And we're going on over to the NFC side of the equation now, because we know in the AFC, that the Cincinnati Bengals, after pulling off that upset, will represent the AFC in the big game. So who will they play? Who will they face? Well, the NFC Championship game featured the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams had lost 6 straight games to the 49ers coming into this game. I think 4 of those times they were favored to beat the 49ers and lost. And they blew a 17-point lead to the 49ers in the regular season finale, which allowed San Francisco to even get in the playoffs. And so on Sunday, it was a little bit of a different story, because the 49ers jumped all over the Rams early, and it looked like it was going to be a repeat. 49ers were up 17-7 going into the fourth quarter, and then they got shut down. Jimmy Garoppolo went 2 for 10 under pressure with an interception, like Aggie P predicted, and failed his team. And at the end of the day, the Rams pull out a 20-17 victory. And Matt Stafford threw for 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Cooper Kupp continues to shine, y'all. 11 catches for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. That dude is unbelievable. And then Odell Beckham Jr. has come to life in LA, 9 catches for 113 yards. Man, impressive performance by the Rams coming back. Tunnel Crew, what do you guys think about the Rams winning this game and ending that 6-game losing streak to the 49ers?
I hope the Rams don't choke in the big game like they did a couple years ago. It's one thing to win the NFC title. It's another thing to win the Lombardi trophy. If you go back and watch that game from 2018, yes, he played against the GOAT, but Sean McVay's offense was just so one-dimensional. That's why the defense that was a defensive game, I believe. So I'm excited to see both teams, the Bengals and the Rams, in that game. But I want to see if the Rams can hold up on their offensive end.
Well, excuse me, I'm sorry. It was a good game, Big T. We all knew that if Jimmy G, had to come from behind, that he wasn't going to do it, and he was going to show his true colors. We all knew that. I think the game was determined on the offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a physical battle, all day between those guys. And Stafford is starting to win my vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he got one more, and I might be okay, but because I had him and Jimmy G kind of the same there for a while, because he will blow it too. Now, I mean, he's suspect sometimes, but I think it was last week he threw that nice long pass that dropped in perfect. His accuracy was looking good. So hey, it was a good game. I just knew though, if Jimmy G had to get that ball in his hands to win that game, he's just not that type of quarterback. But he's a type when you got an offense around him and you can throw little dinks and dunks, which is little short passes. He's great with that. So great game. Great game.
I would like to see the coaches film to see what they did on Deebo Samuels, because he disappeared in the fourth quarter. I mean, that dude's a monster, and all game long he was tearing them up, and then in the fourth quarter he was nowhere to be found.
Didn't he get sort of dinged up a little bit in the first half?
He did, but he came back strong. So I thought he was all right, Well,
it's like you said, Jimmy G, man. He's to throw it down the field. He don't have the concept of being able to do that. Now, those little short 5 yard, 10 yards, 8 yards, he's good at that. But like you said, when it's time for you to make a play down the field, he don't have it.
He's not the guy.
No,
he's not the guy. Huh?
He's not the guy.
And he have the weapons and so forth. I don't think he have the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
To do it, and he's just always been with him.
TP.
Yeah. So one of our listeners, said that Jimmy G is going to throw an interception at the wrong time. And our producer also said Jimmy G and Tannehill are the same guy, if you ask me. They're not good under pressure.
Yeah. And they need everything to be perfect, I mean, everything, the blocking's got to be perfect. The routes got to be run right. If everything's not perfect, then they're going to mess up. Radar.
You know what? I hate to say this, but I agree with Birdman. I can just see it coming. They're going to disappoint us. Him and Odell Beckham, they're going to get out there, dance and everything before the game. And then Burrow and company going to light them up. And that defense, Bro Miller hit on it, and Agape seen it. Them boys fly around the ball. They don't give nobody a break. Everybody got to play. You remember Bro Miller back in high school? Coach said the best way to make somebody play defense is move your feet. Those guys move their feet. And I don't see that a lot with LA's offense. And I hate to see McVay lose another one.
Well,
that's not a good look.
Wait, once again, y'all know I love my numbers, and Matt Stafford became only the 4th quarterback in the history of the game, the big game, to start his first team with first year with his new team. The others are Brady last year, our guy DeHolmes against the Patriots back in 2004, Trent Dilfer with the Ravens back in the day, and now Matthew Stafford. The previous three guys went 2-1. So that's a good sign for Matt. And LA became only the second team ever to host the big game, following Tampa Bay, who did it last year. So we went, 54 years without anybody hosting the big game in their own stadium. And now we've done it. We got a new streak now. 2 years in a row,
2 years in a row. Okay.
So where is it next year? Is it in Vegas?
It's in Glendale, I think.
Is it? It's in Arizona. Okay, well, go ahead and pencil the Cardinals in then. Oh man. Hey, anybody else got any thoughts on the NFC Championship game before we move on?
So Nisi Pfeiffer said no OJ Beckham wants this bad.
There you go. And hey, one thing I like about what that dude did, I love the way he walked over to Deebo Samuels and consoled him after the game was over. I love that, man, because
all right, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there now.
Say it ain't me. Say it.
Like I was telling all my guys, we was watching the game because they were picking on me because he was a judge. I said, listen, it's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. I mean, that was nice. Okay. You don't know what he was whispering. You don't know what he was whispering to that guy. I mean, none of us really know. He's gonna go to the big game. He's gonna have a good game. Whatever happens, happens. But next year, watch.
So they gonna blow up.
Hey, I know the guy.
Him. Yeah, I've just been personally watching him a lot since the recovery. I mean, I've really just been looking at him like, wow, because I just know when you come off of a real bad injury and they keep floating you from team to team, soon it's either going to be time for you to retire or you're going to come back very strong, and then you're going to see some teams really try to give you a longer contract. So I've seen it too many times, especially in the NBA. So I'm just been really looking at his career. So yes.
Yeah.
Let Cup keep catching more passes than he and getting more yards. I'll tell you, man.
So it's gonna be a problem.
It's gonna be a problem. I'm afraid that it don't. I want him to prove me wrong, but I just know his characteristics, man.
Hey, the producer just confirmed. Yes, the big game is in Arizona next year. So pencil the Cardinals in.
Yeah, and he was hugging his mama like he was 12 years old. I said, "What are we doing? You can't be hanging out with rappers and then hugging your mama at the end of a game."
Hey, I saw you TP penciling them in. I saw you writing that. She was writing it on in there.
She gonna pick him just because of that. Oh, I would love Jay to do that for me after his game. Come hug me.
Oh man!
Don't get to the fighting words. Fighting words. Right,
you gonna play or not, Jay? You gonna play today?
Huh? Don't make me come through this screen and come get you.
There you go.
This is the home edition.
Hey there, on Saturday, it was announced that our man TB12 Tom Brady, at the age of 44, had retired, and then chaos ensued as his dad said, "No, it's not true." He said it's not true. His website took down a graphic congratulating him and showing all of his accomplishments. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, is he retired or isn't he retired? And so things went kind of quiet for a couple of days. But yes, today on his Instagram page, he officially announced with a 8-page, 17-paragraph statement, y'all.
Wow.
And on that, in that statement, he thanked the owner of Tampa Bay, he thanked Bruce Arians, he thanked all the coaches, he thanked all the Tampa Bay players, he thanked the Tampa Bay fans, he thanked the city of Tampa Bay, all of that. And then he mentioned just in general, all his coaches, all his competitors that he competed against. You know what he didn't mention? He didn't mention Belichick by name. He didn't mention Kraft by name. In fact, he released a simple statement saying, thank you to Patriot Nation and Patriot fans, and that was it, So that's kind of weird there. But looking at his numbers, he played 22 years, 20 with New England, 2 with Tampa Bay. He's got more big game titles than any franchise in the NFL, y'all. He's the only quarterback to win 3 different championships in 3 different decades. Only quarterback to win championship as a starter in both conferences. He's got the most quarterback wins, most passing touchdowns, most passing yards, most playoff wins, most playoff yards, most playoff touchdowns. I mean, most big game touchdowns, most big game yards, most big game appearances with 10. I mean, the dude's got 14 conference appearances. He went 10-4 in those. He's 5-time big game MVP, 15 Pro Bowls, the most all time. Is there anything this guy doesn't have on the resume? So, Tunnel Crew, TB12, have at it. He's retired. He's done. Your thoughts?
Well, let me just say this. I would really like to thank Small Wonder. This is a wonderful conversation going on here. Small Wonder said, yeah, Big T. It's about that time. It's official. Tom Brady is going to the crib.
There you go. Hey,
Sounds
Small
like
Wonder has spoken. She has spoken.
She has. About time.
Anybody else got anything to say about Tom? I mean, the guy, he's done a lot. And he said, it's time to lead the field to the next generation of players. He said, football is an all-in 100% proposition. If you're not there, you won't succeed. And he said, I can no longer make that competitive commitment anymore. So we'll congratulate Tom and look forward to what he does in the future. And if anybody has anything to say, we'll say that on the other side of the break. But you're listening to At Home with the Crossover, and you can catch us every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. on YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel. And then on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. You can find it online at WLJFradio.com. You can also download the app. It's available on Google Play and in the iTunes Store. When we come back, it's time for the question of the day.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, the joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life, and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship to join our congregation. 1 church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry. Join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
100.7 WLJF.
All right, welcome back to At Home with the Crossover, and catch us every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. is the time on YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel and be sure to tell all your friends about it. Like, share, and subscribe, and get involved. You can also post your questions and comments and your feedback to all the Tunnel crew and let us know how you're enjoying the show on social media. Then you can find us on our original day and time for the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. That's Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And that can be found online at WLJFradio.com. You can also go to the Google Play and iTunes store and download the 100.7 WLJF app and listen to it that way if you like. All right. Anybody got any more thoughts on TB12 retiring? Are y'all ready to,
Oh, yes, of course. So
go ahead.
Our viewers that are here, and I'll just, first of all, I want to say thank you to our YouTube community that's coming in and definitely commenting, and also to our WLJF family for listening and supporting us as well. The comments are coming in, and that's what we love. So keep the conversation going on YouTube. So Fletcher Ashley said, just remember that the Giants beat them twice. So
yes.
AUPT.
Yes.
That's right. So Fletcher Ashley wanted me to make sure that I said that. Also, Nisi Pfeiffer said it's time for Tom to go. And I think it's time for Tom to go. I know, and I'm speaking for Birdman, not trying to speak out of turn, but we know that Birdman does not care for Brady.
That's right.
I think for him, it's more of a celebration. And I think, okay, Ann Mitchell just said, I totally 100% agree. So everybody is saying, hey, it was time for Tom to go. But one thing I can say is that, I feel that Tom was really trying to seek this as far as with age to one be the oldest. I think they really wanted to leave Bill Belichick. I really think he wanted to leave. And I think by being in Florida, that this is kind of a place that he can really call home. They really embraced him. And when you get those hits and that body reminds you of your age, it's time to go.
And also,
go ahead,
Big T, hats off to his wife.
Yeah.
From what I hear, she had a very big part in convincing him it's time to come home.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that, hey, we need to listen.
That's right.
Because I can only imagine, the life of an NFL player's wife.
Yeah.
The responsibility of taking care of the family, because that football on that level, you are 24/7 dedicated to watching film, training, working out, rehabbing. And you don't have time to do a lot of the stuff that, that say a man should do in the household. So, hey, by his wife sitting there watching him taking those licks, and like you just read off, I mean, what else can he accomplish from the quarterback position? And if you want to impress me, go play some defense or something. That would impress me. But hey, man, hats off to him. I'm not going to take up too much more in time. But, hats off to Tom. Time for him to retire. And he's not hurt. He can go ahead and do other things.
Yeah. And I agree with that, Raggy P. You play 22 years in the NFL, man. That's a journey. That's a journey, man. You just, it ain't too many, if not any, that play for 22 years.
Yeah. Right.
So you
not at that level.
For that. Yeah. You commend him for that. And hey, we enjoyed a good quarterback that we was able to see. You may have one to come after him, but it's very likely that's going to happen. Not what he have done, and be there for 22 years. That you got to put that factor in there too.
Yeah.
And let me just say, let me just put this out there too, because I mean, you will be surprised. The comments are really coming. So people are saying they agree. They said, happy wife, happy life. Everybody is saying, hey, I totally 100% agree. Fletcher actually just said, I would love to meet him one more time in the big game. So another one, So, I really wanted to say that I really think the consensus, it doesn't seem like anybody is saying he needs to stay. The only other thing that I wanted to say, and Nisi Pfeiffer said it just like his mom, I really wondered when his mother became sick and had cancer, if that was another reason that he stayed another year to kind of pay off bills, make sure everybody was secure. And don't get me wrong when I say that yes, he may have more than enough money, but I say that because you're kind of looking at generations. You think about it, even though people want to have stuff as titles, some people are not ready to retire. They want to keep that everyday schedule. So I know we need to move on, but I just really wanted to read off a couple of more of these comments.
No, that's great.
What the consensus is. So yes.
That's great. We love to hear from the listeners.
And Big T, real
Yes, sir.
quick, I know you got to move on. This can be for another show. Tom Brady is the GOAT of quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not the GOAT of football.
Not the GOAT of football, yeah.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother show.
Hey, there you go.
That to the tilt.
Hey, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay.
And on a closeout note, Matthew 20 chapter, 16th verse, it says, the last shall be first and the first shall be last.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about Brady being the last person to be picked. I don't care what he did to get the 7 championships to 20 years.
Yeah.
You are the last one picked, Birdman. If you play sports, that lights a fire up under you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if it's kickball, dodgeball, or football. If somebody pick you last and tell you you aren't good enough, sir, everybody getting ready to get it.
What about horse racing?
Horse racing too, sir.
All right,
he going to the glue factory.
Come your dark skinned horse.
All right, let's move on here. Hey, now to coaching news. And the Bears hired Indianapolis defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. The Giants hired Brian Daboll, the Bills offensive coordinator. And yesterday, the Raiders announced that they were hiring Josh McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator. Then there's Brian Flores, who's still out there. And it may stay that way after today because Brian took a torch to the house, you know. I mean, he set some fire on some stuff. He filed a lawsuit today with the NFL alleging racial discrimination in its hiring practices. And you know, he went on to say this in a quote. He said, "God has blessed me with a special talent to coach, but the need for change is bigger than personal goals." And he also went on to say this. He said he admitted that in making the decision to file this class action lawsuit today, I understand that I may be risking coaching the game that I love, and that has done so much for my family and me. My sincere hope is by standing up against systemic racism in the NFL, others will join me to ensure that positive change is made for generations to come. And I was listening to Mike Wilbon talk about it before we came on the air, and he said, I tip my hat to him because I think this is the last time we'll see him even have a prospect of being hired in the NFL. He said, the first thing I thought about when he did this was Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
So, you know, he basically in his lawsuit, you know, he said that Bill Belichick had texted him and congratulated him on getting the Giants job. And Belichick said, "Oh, I thought that was Daboll. I mean, I thought it was you, but it was Daboll." And this was actually before Flores was hired. I mean, it was interviewed by the Giants. So in other words, the job was already given to Daboll before they even hired Flores. And we know about the Rooney Rule that requires every team to hire at least one minority candidate before they hire somebody. He also alleged that Elway was hung over at an interview, said he interviewed for the Broncos head coaching job in 2019, only for John Elway, the general manager, to allegedly show up an hour late to the process looking disheveled after a night of drinking. He alleged that Stephen Ross, the owner of my Dolphins, offered to pay him $100,000 per loss to tank in the 2019 season. Remember, the Dolphins started 0-7 that year, and everybody said they were the worst team ever. And then they won 5 out of their last 9 games and finished 5-11. Well, he said he was offered $100,000 per loss to tank that year. And then he cites how a lot of minority head coaches have been treated, like Jim Caldwell, who was fired by the Colts after a 10-6 season. Eric Bieniemy being the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs and still hasn't got a job. You know, this year the Texans coach David Culley was fired after 1 year, even though he has 45 years coaching experience. You know, and then he talked about how the league is 70% black, but yet right now there's only one black head coach, which is Mike Tomlin at Pittsburgh. So that leads us to our question of the day, everybody, and it is this. Does this come with the territory, or do minority coaches have to forge new territory? And that's the question of the day. I'm going to toss it out there to the Tunnel Crew. Have at it. This lawsuit is getting ready to change a lot of stuff, everybody.
So let me go ahead with one of our listeners. So Nisi Pfeiffer said, I am very happy he took a stand, and it is sad, but he will never work as a coach in the NFL. That's something we definitely talked about in our production meeting. That's a possibility. So how do you feel, AP?
Well, I'm glad he took a stand, and we all know that in order for change to happen, you know, we can look back in history. Somebody or a group of people had to take a stand.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Black History Month, you know, the sit-ins, Rosa Parks sat down. I mean, somebody have to take a stand. And in him doing this, he will be taken care of. Kaepernick might not play any more football, but Kaepernick is making good money and he's taken care of. So I'm glad he's taking this stand. And like you said earlier, Big T, I think it's going to, you know, finally bring on some change in the NFL as far as hiring coaches. But where the real change is going to come in is we got to get some owners.
Yeah.
It's got to start from the top. And, you know, and I think Jerry Jones and the good old boy system, they're going to do everything they can to control that. Hey, let's talk about it. Well, I mean, that's why we on here. I mean, everybody have their own opinion. That's Aggie P's opinion, you know, the way I look at it. And hey, I'm not going to take up all the time, but that's how I feel. I'm glad that he did it, and the brother's going to be taken care of. All right.
And I want to just share this. I take a different perspective on it. It's like God shows himself mightily on our behalf if we do what he asks us to do. Because how could somebody text somebody knowing who they wasn't, you know, supposed to text? They're just giving him more ammunition. God said, okay, let him text him and show him what's going on.
They pull back the curtain.
And then, and that's what he said, what's in the dark gonna come to the light. And that's what you're seeing now. What's in the dark gonna come to the light, and he done been exposed. You know, NFL has been exposed. Like Aggie P said, he's gonna be taken care of. I don't think, you know, that's the case. I think he's doing what the Lord is asking him to do. To shed light on something that's been dark for years. And allow him to handle that situation, you know, and then that'll be able to allow people to say, okay, let me tell my story. Because there's some stories out there. You know, you ain't heard the last of it. There's some stories out there that, you know, we all know that's been going on. It's just somebody to come out and share their story. So that's my take on it. You know, it's not right, but I know God always have a plan when you're under his wings, you know, moving forward.
So what you're saying is hey, got to forge new territory, like the question of the day asked, you know? Radar, jump on in here.
I would take the other side in terms of it comes with the territory, because I have a set of experiences that tells me the higher you go and the more money that's on the table, the more you got to swallow, the more you got to take and make a change from inside once you get inside. And you got to do some of the things that they do. Like it says in the Bible, be as wise as a serpent and innocent as a dove. Yes. So therefore you have to show certain faces and things in order for greater good, in other words. And I just thought that came with the territory, a la Jim Caldwell, a la the guy in Pittsburgh. He's done a lot to, you know, push it. But again, I think we got to go another step higher.
Hey, Bird, your thoughts?
I would say it'd be a little bit of both to Radar's point, but I wanted to add to that a little bit in saying that I'm glad he's doing what he's doing, taking a stand, because I've always wondered this. Why is Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, why is he, you know, getting all this praise, yet every other minority that's trying to go for the same position that he's already have or already gotten, per se, why are they getting rejected? And I feel like it's time, and it's this situation is allowing him and us as a Black community to come together and realize that, hey, we as a Black community, we pay your salary, because half of the players in the league are minorities.
Over half, 70%.
Yeah, over half. So we pay your bills. And until you realize that, and until you give us a fair chance at ownership, at coaching, that's at the top. It starts at the top. We're not going to get anything that we can say all we want to about the ground up, but I think, in my opinion, it starts at the top.
All right, everybody. Hey, great question of the day. When we come back, it's time for the wrap up.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, the joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life, and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry, join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
It's time now for the crossover wrap-up report. Let's send it back to the Tunnel Crew.
Welcome back. Welcome back to At Home with the Crossover. Make sure you catch this live at home edition of the show every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. And then on Thursday night, catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. It can be found online at WLJFradio.com. You can also download the 100.7 WLJF app, which is available both on Google Play and in the iTunes Store. All right, it's time for our wrap-up, which we pick games. We show our weekly standings, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and look at how the Tunnel Crew did last week. And Bro Mel just Hurricane Bro Mel just blew us away. Bro Mel went 5-0 last week, and he won the pick segment for last week. Got a log jam at second place with Aggie P, Radar, and TP at 3-2. And then me, Birdman, and Stats all bringing up the rear. We in the back of the line at 2-3. The overall standings look like this. Bromel has leapfrogged to the top with a 14-6 record. Radar is second at 13-7. Aggie P, Birdman, and TP are tied at third with 12-8 records. And I'm fourth with an 11-9 record. And Stats is Mr. 500, 10-10. He's always hovering around 500. So Stats giveth and taketh away with his picks. All right, let's go ahead and look at the games for this week. And they look like this, the choices that we have. In the NBA, we've got the Nets at the Jazz on Friday night. We got the Heat at the Hornets on Saturday night. Got the 76ers at the Bulls on Sunday night. Then in women's college basketball, we got a big one. Number 7, Tennessee at 18-2. On the road at number 10, UConn at 12-4. That's Sunday afternoon. Then men's college basketball, we got number 3, UCLA at 16-2 at number 7, Arizona at 17-2. That's Thursday night. And then number 8, Baylor at 18-3 at number 10 Kansas, 17-3. That game is Saturday, and we'll go ahead and jump on in. Let me read stats off right quick. Stats took the Hornets, the Bulls, Kansas, and UCLA for his picks. And we'll turn it over to Aggie P. Give us your picks, sir.
Yes, sir. I took the Jazz, Bulls, Tennessee, and UCLA.
All right, Birdman.
Took the Jazz, the Hornets. Oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. The Jazz, the Heat, 76ers, and UCLA. I'm reading Big T's.
All right, Bromel. Bromel.
Right, so mine's Jazz, Tennessee, UCLA, and Baylor.
All right, Radar Charles.
I'm going with the Jazz, Hornets, Bulls, and UConn.
All right, TP.
I'm going with the Jazz, the Heat, Tennessee Women's, and Baylor.
All right, and I'm taking the Jazz, the Hornets, Tennessee Women over UConn, and UCLA. All right, it's time for shout out and play, or shout out candidates. And we will start with Bromel.
Oh man, I would just say the San Francisco and Jimmy G just shut up and play, man.
That's a good one. TP.
I'm going to say shout out to everyone who's been on YouTube and supporting us. This has been a great night and great comments. I appreciate everybody's substance and input.
All right, Aggie P.
My shout out goes to the Aggies.
Oh,
ranked number 1 in the country in indoor track. Yeah.
There you go.
That's right. That's
I like what you said today. They're going to get the love that Auburn got when they were ranked number 1 for the first time in basketball.
Put us on the magazine cover.
Birdman.
Hey, shout out to Tom Brady. Wish you well in retirement. Just remember, Super Bowl, big game, 52 champions.
All right, Radar.
I'd like to give a shout out to Stats. We're looking to pray and support him in this new chapter of his life. So we're just showing him some love since he hasn't been able to be here. So we shout outs to him.
There you go. My shout out goes out to a dear friend of mine who passed away over the weekend. I'm wearing this Carolina hat to honor him. He was really the biggest Carolina fan that I know. I mean, wow. I never saw a day go by that I didn't see this guy wearing something Carolina, either something with Carolina's logo on it or something with Carolina colors in it. But he's also a huge Dolphins fan, even though he usually griped and complained about Miami a lot. But yeah, he passed away over the weekend. And I just want to send prayers and condolences out to his son and his family. And everybody that knows him, keep that family in prayer. So, all right. Hey, y'all, it's been a great show. We've had a lot of fun. And, hey, I love doing this with y'all every week. Hey, so for Bromel.
Hey, praise the Lord. Just have a good evening.
There you go. For the Queen.
Blessings. Blessings to everyone.
For Aggie P.
No weapon.
For Birdman. For Radar Charles.
Narrow is the way, Big T.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Hey, I'm your man, Big T, signing off and saying, no matter where you are, look up and know that your creator is there. Until next time, everybody, see ya. And we might want to be.
That's all we have for you today. So be sure to join us next week for the crossover. And remember, the Tunnel Crew don't play unless we have something to say.